Data privacy is an increasing risk for many organizations today, or at least it should be. In this video, we're going to look at a number of directions from which data privacy risks might arise. First is the idea of function creep. And this is where an organization originally collects data for one purpose, such as just to sell products to customers, but then it keeps the data around, and then after time it realizes it could analyze that data for maybe uh, promotions in the future. And then as time goes on, there might be a merger, and now it has data from other companies, and now it can bring it together and have larger data sets. Suddenly, data is being used for more functions than what was originally intended, and maybe the level of privacy concern is not the same, and that might not be properly taken into consideration. A related issue is the proliferation of data sources. And that's the fact that with new technologies, the rise of the internet, the ease of data collection, there's just so many sources of data and so many ways to more easily get data. It's now not just a matter of directly getting data from the customers who do business with you. They might have social media profiles, which might be public, and you might be able to get data from them. You might have partners and related businesses that might have data that they can easily give to you. The more the possibility of data sources, then the easier it is to do things with the data that might not protect clients' privacy adequately. Also, there are data management risks, which has to do with the fact that suddenly it's a lot easier to keep data around. Maybe even as recently as 10 years ago, there was data after some time was deleted because it cost money to keep data around. But now that data storage is so cheap, there's a possibility of virtually keeping data perpetually around. And so data stays around for years and years, and you can find new purposes for it, again, without thinking about the very different privacy considerations between why the data was collected and the new purposes you're trying to give it. And this, a muddy issue is the legal landscape. And that is the consideration that there are laws in almost every country concerning what you can and cannot do with the data. But laws depend on the legal jurisdiction of the companies, and the internet does not have very clear boundaries. You can have customers from any country in the world, and with that, your companies or your organization's privacy jurisdiction might be very different from the legislation that concerns some of your customers. And how do you reconcile all of these? It's worth mentioning here that the GDPR, the privacy legislation that regulates the European Union, is one of the strongest regimes in the world, and it applies to all European Union citizens, no matter where they reside or where the companies might be that are doing business with them. And it has very far reaching consequences, such that it's sometimes much easier for companies just to apply GDPR regulations for all their customers, and then they know everyone is covered. However, some companies that want to take a minimalist approach, that is, they want to uh, they, they want to do as much as they can with as few restrictions as possible. They might try to distinguish their European Union clients from the non-European Union clients and have two different privacy regimes or policies for these different people, which I won't say defeats the purpose, but is a way that does not take privacy sufficiently into consideration. And the last issue or risk here is related to the general positive challenge, or positive opportunity, which provides a great challenge of big data. When big data refers to lots of data, that's a volume, versus velocity, getting data very quickly, also variety, many different kinds of data, as well as issues concerning the veracity and value of that data. But once data is so abundant and so available, well, the privacy risks and challenges also multiply. And this is something that organizations need to consider, that there are the opportunities to link data in new ways and get very surprising insights, and use some machine learning techniques such as deep learning that require huge amounts of data. But then you might also get yourselves in huge amounts of trouble very quickly by not taking adequate care of privacy. So this is a survey of some of the risks and concerns that organizations need to take into consideration related to data privacy.